Everyone, another book today at Cindy Harper Speaks. It's a story in my Green Light Go book, and it's called Gary's Beanbag Game, the newspaper story. So we see a lady holding a newspaper, looks like a teacher, and some students. Let's listen up. Mrs. Weeks was reading a newspaper story to her class. It was a story about children in the hospital. The story said, "Were you ever in a hospital when you were young? How did it feel? Doctors at Park Hospital are asking for money for children's toys. Some children at the hospital must stay in bed for many weeks. Toys are needed to keep these children happy and quiet. Money for them can be sent to the hospital." So that was the ad in the paper. After Mrs. Weeks read the story, she said, "This story gave me an idea." "I know," said one of the boys, "you want us to bring some money for the toys." "Well, that would be nice," Mrs. Weeks said, "but most third grade children don't have much money." I had another idea. "I know," said a girl, "we can bring some of our own toys for the children in the hospital." "That would be nice too," said Mrs. Weeks, "but that still wasn't what I was thinking." "I know," said a boy, "we could make some toys." Mrs. Weeks smiled. "Do you think you could?" she asked. "I couldn't," said one boy. It was a boy named Barry. "I couldn't make anything." "Bet you could," said one of his friends. "You could make an airplane." "Anyone can make planes." "Not me," Barry said. "I couldn't." "I'll show you," said his friend. "All you need is some wood." "I know how to make a good train," said another boy. "My brother showed me. All you need is some shoe boxes." "Shoe boxes," said a girl. "You know what I could do with shoe boxes? I make doll beds. I just love to make doll beds. I paint the boxes. Then I make covers for the beds. I make the covers from little pieces of cloth. I must have made hundreds of doll beds." So see, they're talking about what they can do. I love it. These kids are brainstorming. "Well, I'm not going to make doll beds," said Barry. "Paper dolls," said another girl. "I can make beautiful paper dolls. I cut them out and paint the faces. Sometimes I make funny faces, then I make dresses. I can make hundreds of dresses for paper dolls. I can make dresses for real dolls," said another girl. "I can make a toy truck with a spool and a rubber band," said a boy. "How do you do that?" asked Mrs. Weeks. "You turn the rubber band around a little stick of wood," said the boy. "Then the truck runs along the floor." "You'll have to show me," said Mrs. Weeks. "I don't know very much about making trucks." "I'll show you," said the boy. "Well," said Mrs. Weeks, "I guess we can make all kinds of things. I'm pleased to find out how much you children know." So look at all the kids. They're busy making different things. I love it. "We know how to make hundreds of things," said one of the girls. "Not me," Barry said. "I couldn't make anything." Mrs. Weeks asked the class to bring the boxes and cloth and other things they needed to school. "And I will get some paint and some rubber bands and some strings," said Mrs. Weeks. "We'll need those too." Next day, the third grade began to make toys for the park hospital. They brought food cans and pieces of wood. They brought beans and little wheels from old toys. Everyone brought something except Barry. "I couldn't think of anything," he said. "I can't think of anything to make." The other children thought of lots of things. Every day after lunch, they worked on their toys. The whole room was full of the sound of their busy work. Some of the boys were making airplanes out of pieces of wood. They put wheels on the planes and painted windows on the sides. "Who's got the paint? Hey, I need some wood. Someone took my wheel. Mrs. Weeks, I need some help." Everyone was busy except Barry. Look, everybody else is busy. They're having a good time. Let's see what Barry comes up with. The boys showed their planes to him. "Look, Barry," they said, "anyone can make a plane." Barry said, "No, not me. I can't do anything like that." Barry watched the girls making doll dresses out of cloth. He watched them making dresses out of paper. You won't catch me doing that, he said. The girls showed off their dolls to Barry. They had made big dolls and little dolls, and they had sewed doll dresses out of the cloth they had brought. See, Barry, they said, dolls are easy. Well, I'm not going to make a doll, said Barry. Next comes the game. Barry watched some of the other children fixing up cans. They took the paper off the cans and painted them. They put little cans inside big cans and even smaller cans into the little cans. The cans were for the smaller children at the hospital. The third graders thought smaller children would like to put little cans into bigger ones. Barry was surprised by all the things his friends were making. Even Mrs. Weeks was surprised. So look, we've got dolls, airplanes. Here are the cans. These kids are quite creative. One boy knew how to make pinwheels. He showed his friends how to pin red and blue paper to a stick. After school, they ran around the room with their pinwheels turning. One day, a boy's father brought some big wooden boxes from his store. He helped the boys put wheels on the boxes to make trains. Hey, said a boy, the children in the hospital could put smaller toys away in the trains. Yes, said one of the girls, and we could paint some boxes to keep toys in too. Every day, the pile of toys in the back of the room grew bigger. Barry was the only one who didn't make any toys. Then two girls began to make bean bags. They made little bags out of cloth. They put the beans in the bags and sewed them up. Then they threw the bean bags at each other to see how they were. Then Barry thought of something to make. The next day, Barry brought a big box to school. Finally, Barry's going to do something. Just took him longer to get warmed up. What is that for? Asked Mrs. Weeks. A game, said Barry. Barry cut holes in the big box. He painted numbers next to the holes. Then he showed the class how the game worked. Look, he said, you can throw bean bags at the box and try to get them into the holes. You try to get a bean bag in the hole with the biggest number, Barry said. It was a very good game. The third grade called it Barry's beanbag game. At lunchtime and after school, they all wanted to play it. So he's got 1, 3, 5, and 10. So that's what he's numbered. That's cool. I can make millions of beanbag games, Barry said. I like to make them. Mrs. Weeks said, well, I think we have just about enough toys now. But before we send them to the hospital, I think we should ask the other grades to come and see them. The third grade put all the toys out on their desks. Then all the children in school came to see them. Even the principal came. The third grade showed the principal how to play Barry's beanbag game. How did you do it? Asked the principal. How did you think of so many toys? It wasn't hard, said one of the girls. Anyone can make toys, Barry said. I couldn't, said the principal. All the children laughed. They had heard that before. Then the principal helped the children put the toys into the trains and boxes. Look at all that they made. Absolutely beautiful. The class took the toys out to the school bus. The bus driver took the toys to the hospital. A few days later, Mrs. Weeks read another newspaper story to the third grade. This is what it said. A school bus brought toys to the park hospital this week. The toys were made by the boys and girls of grade 3 in the Green Street School. Doctors at the hospital said, we have never had so many wonderful toys. Our sick children are very happy with them. Everyone at the hospital says, thank you, grade 3. So there's the teacher. She's reading the article from the newspaper. So see what you can do when you put your mind to it. That was an awesome project. Mrs. Weeks read about a need that the hospital had in the newspaper, shared it with her classroom, and look what they came up with. So we can make big things out of little things, and it will definitely make someone's day. So what have you got up your sleeve? What can you create, and what can you do that could be a blessing to someone else? If you like this story, Please press like at the end, and I'll see you next time at Harper. Thanks for tuning in, and bye for now.